Hi, I'm Brent Johnson, and today we are at First Presbyterian Church in Lawrence, Kansas. The instrument here was built by the Reuter Organ Company. With me is Bill Klimas. You work for the Reuter Organ Company here in Lawrence. What's your position?
I am Vice President and Artistic Director.
So you had something to do with this instrument going on
I had a little bit to do with this organ.
Well,
I pulled the old one out and put the new one in. How about that?
Well, tell me about the old organ first.
The old organ was a Moeller
from
1968, a small two-manual organ. I had a nice drawn-up console. It was still playing. It had some issues. It was a little bit of an unusual thing to find a Moeller organ in Lawrence, Kansas. How they snuck that in here, I don't know. Reuter was able to sneak an organ into Hagerstown, Maryland, so I guess the score's even.
So Moeller organ, and then in 2012.
2012, yep.
The work. So, and a lot of that organ is still here in this instrument.
Almost the entire Moeller organ is back here in a different form and redeployed strategically to allow the pipes to do what they can do best.
All right, and most of it's in the swell, as I recall, right?
Yes.
Yeah, most of it. But other things are here and there. But well, I'd like to just hear a little bit of it. Show me just some of the new stuff, the stuff that's Reuter pipes.
Well, the core of the organ, the great principal chorus, is all new, and the chest, all new chests in the great as well. So the great 8-foot principal. 4. Four, 2. 2 mixture.
It's a big full chorus in here that really feels. How many ranks of mixture do we have?
3 to 4. Three ranks in the bottom octave. We like to do 3 ranks on these smaller organs so that when you have the great pedal on, you don't have that little pipe whistling around in the bass line.
Right. And most of the 8-foot principals out here in the Facade?
A good bit of it is in the Facade. In the left side, there's a kind of a mix of pedal octave and great principal and harmonic flute basses as well. Okay,
and that's a really stunning flamed copper Facade, all made of copper pipe, and people use the word flamed copper because it looks like flames, but you actually have to use fire to make that happen.
We do, yeah.
How do you get that pattern to show
I am not, I don't have the eye for it, but we have people that do, and what they do is they'll heat the copper with a torch and wave it around and bring out the colors.
The heat just distorts the color.
Yeah, the heat brings out the colors in the pipes, and then they're formed round after that. It's very difficult to flame them when they're round because you can't get any kind of even heat. You really can't even see what you're doing because
you can heat them when they're flat.
The surface comes around on you.
It makes sense. You can lay them out flat and do it there. So it's really stunning effect. So it seems really well here.
This organ Facade was inspired by an organ we did for the Interlochen School of Music in 2006. Okay. So this is kind of like Interlochen Junior Facade,
It works really well in here. What else do we have in the grate then after our principal chorus?
Well, we have a pair of flutes, an 8-foot Borden. All of this is new. A 4-foot Spiel flute, which is a semi-stop pipe with a long dunce cap. Together, they it's just a Christmas carol waiting to happen.
Are those both metal pipes?
They are. Okay. They are. Yep.
Right. And then where do we go from there?
And then we have a harmonic flute. A lot of that is in the Facade. Speaks very gently. you can hear, we hold the power in check until we get above the range of hymns, which is about usually, well, some hymnals used to go up to F, but now people are wimps and they really can hardly even sing a D. So, so usually in the D to F range, we kind of pull the reins off and let it fly. The pipes go double length at middle G, number 32. That's the first double length pipe. So it's always tricky to get a match between the dead length pipes and the, let's see. Pretty close. Pretty good. Pretty close when you get two pipes that don't look anything like each other and try to get them to sound the same. Yeah, we'll take that. So the pipes go double length, and when at that point they really gain a lot of carrying power. When a double length pipe has a lot more, actually creates undertones. Okay. And it just gets a lot of fundamental power, and it really carries. It's not the loudest stop in the organ, but it's the one you can hear down the hall. Okay, good to know. Yeah, yeah. And then from there we go. From there, let's see. We've got a trumpet, an 8-foot trumpet. And that 8-foot trumpet also plays in the pedal and is extended down. Pretty healthy. Full length 16. Yes, it is. That's full length, large scale. Like it, yeah. Yep. And then couplers from there. And couplers from there. That's our great division. That's our great division. So, and all of that was new? That is all new. All new stuff. The grade is all new. Yep. So a lot of the molar went into the swell over there. Pretty much the whole organ is in the swell. Ah, okay. All of the molar chests are in the swell. So the pitman chest, yeah. So there were the old great chest is now in the swell. So the organ is, well, yeah, pretty much the whole molar is the swell. Yeah. Well, let's hear some of those new things. Let's hear some of those molar stops. Sure. The first thing I see is the Geigen principle. Geigen principle. This is the old molar great 8-foot principle. I assume some revoicing went into that, so it's not quite a 1968 molar sound. A bit, yeah. The molar pipes are very well made. They were voiced in a way that is typical of their time. That was built in 1968. Molar had a little different tonal philosophy than we do. Well, in 1968, everybody had a different tonal philosophy. Even Reuter had a different tonal philosophy than we have now. But yeah, the pipes, we treated them as really good raw material. They were very well made, and they were such that we could make them into what we wanted them to sound like. I was actually amazed when I first heard the pipes in their raw form out of the box. After being revoiced at the shop, I had forgotten that they were old. Oh, wow. And I mistook them for new pipes for about 15 minutes, and until I remembered. Oh, wow, wow, that's really good. All right, good. Yeah, yeah. Well, it sounds lovely up there. It does. Nice, it really is a good sound. All right. Yep. And then that has a 4-foot principle. 4-foot principle. Yep. And this is the old great 4-foot octave. So these two traveled as a pair from the old great into the new swell. So. Together. Contrast that with the great. It stands up to the great. It's not it's not as full, but it certainly adds to it. All right. And then let's look at the other 8-foots that we have in the swell, because that's our last principle. Yep. Say for the mixture, but we've got an 8-foot roar flute. An 8-foot roar flute. This is the old molar 8-foot roar flute. We did expand the scale a bit. Okay. We had some. We have a nice stockpile of pipes around our shop, so we found some nice molar pipes to expand the scale of the.
So explain what you mean by that. What do you actually have to do?
Well, so you have a pipe a certain length that plays a certain pitch and a certain diameter.
Right.
And to increase the scale, you actually cut that pipe to a shorter length and allow it to play a higher note. And you do that all the way up to the top.
C becomes a D.
Yeah, so the pipe becomes proportionally larger in diameter than it was before.
But now
the
you're
problem
missing
with
a
that,
C,
yeah, we
right?
have a couple of missing parts.
I see.
So that's where our stockpile comes in. So we were able
So you
to
actually you just shift all the notes.
shift
up
everything
and
up.
to play.
Yeah, and I can't remember exactly what we did. And actually, they started to get pretty big at the top, so we had to kind of shift back out.
I see.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, let's hear how it sounds.
Sure.
Very chipper.
It is.
Flute there, but it's got a lot of body.
It's a very handsome little sound.
And then we have some strings on top of that.
We have a pair of Moeller strings, 1968,
Okay.
and they fit the bill exactly. You can't mistake that sound. And it also has a mate, a voix celeste. These are very closely matched. The celeste is tuned sharp, of course.
Okay. It's very effective. Some sweet sound, but
It is.
Definitely not quite the skinny strings they were building earlier.
No, it is a 19. Well, again, product of its time, and there was no Geigen principle in this well, so that string had to have a little bit of body to it because that was the foundation. Yeah.
Okay.
So actually, the viola and the row flute together form kind of that used to be your foundation. That's not exactly what it was because the row flute's been rescaled bigger, but
the best you can do. So.
yeah, this is as close as we can approximate right now. And that serves as a second diapason for the Geigen diapason to come in. A nice warm. Warm foundation.
Very nice. So then we have a 4-foot open flute.
4-foot open flute. That is from the Moeller. I think that may have been in the grate.
Okay.
It's a really handsome sound. We open it up and let it breathe a little bit.
Yeah, very nice. I like it. And how does that sound with the roar flute underneath it?
Well, they match up nicely.
Yeah, that works really well. All right, where do we go from there?
Well, we have a 2-foot block flute.
Okay.
Now, these pipes are new.
Oh, all right.
And these pipes are similar construction to the great harmonic flute.
Oh.
So they actually go double length at I believe it's number 13.
Okay,
so yeah, well, let's give that a listen. You'll be able to hear they have a kind of an orchestral flute sound as they rise at the top, and that gives that 2-foot a nice, clear, carrying sound without, and it doesn't have to be very loud, but it just has a nice blossom to it.
There's a lot of color up.
It has a lot of color
in that range where a lot of organ stops kind of just turn into high pitch. There's still some color and sparkle.
Yep.
In there,
and it also mixes up nicely with the other flutes.
Yeah, it's really bright and sparkly. Yeah,
it also serves as a poor person's 2-foot principle in the 2-foot super octave. bit.
Just the harmonic edge gives it enough to stand up to the principals. Very good. All right, we have some mutations, I see.
We have mutations. Those are both from the molar, and they are they're both tapered. Tapered wide scale flutes, and they ride on the harmonics of the roar flute, which contains a good dose of both of those pitches. Probably won't be able to hear it from that distance, but you can really hear it when you're tuning the organ. It's the roar flute by itself. Listen carefully. You can hear that pitch in that front. So that sound naturally rides on the roar flute. And then even more faintly in that pitch is this pitch right here. Or this pitch, pardon me. So both of these harmonics are pretty prevalent in the roar flute tone. So we put a 4-foot flute in there just to fill out the
That makes for lovely singing
it does.
solo voice.
It does. And if you want something a little brighter than that, instead of the 4-foot flute, you can use the 4-foot principal. That'll give it just a little more edge.
It changes the quality.
It does. Yep.
Makes a little reedy sound.
Little reedy, little edgy. Yeah. Yep.
Well, speaking of reeds, well, we have a mixture too. We skipped over the mixture on top of our chorus there. So tell me about this mixture.
This mixture, it's a 3-4. It could also be called Heinz 57. It has parts of the old molar mixture in there, and parts of other churches' old molar mixtures, and a few of our new pipes in there to fill it out. So it's also 3-4.
Okay. And
it starts out as a 2-foot in the bottom. C sharp number 14, it picks up rank 4, which is a 2 2/3. Picks up the 4-foot. Picks up the 8-foot. So it's leapfrogging with itself and becoming continually.
And that makes up for not having a real 2-foot principal in that middle range.
Yeah, it does help. Having that 2-foot block flute, having just a little color to it, that does help bridge the jump from the 4 to the 2. Now, when we do a principal chorus in the great and the swell, anywhere where we're trying to build an ensemble, the 8-foot will contain a nice bright pyramid of harmonics that contains the upper pitches that you add later. So this 4-foot, there is a lot of 2-foot tone contained in that. Those harmonics are in this stuff. So it does reach partway up to the mixture, but this little 2-foot does help. Now these mixtures break at different places. So if I were to couple them together and play all the way through, they are designed to cover for each other. So if I play chromatically on the mixtures together, you may hear a break or two, but there's nothing that sticks out.
They're not happening at the same time.
They happen in different places, so they cover for each other.
So it's not as obvious that there's been a break. That works well.
Yeah, and the great mixture, since the great 8-4-2 mixture, this is your bread and butter for. It's your bread and butter for accompanying or leading hymn singing. So, with the wimps that they are today. Not going up to D, but we assume that there's a couple people that can still hit an F. So the great mixture does not break until it gets up to that point. We save that break until right above the hymn range, so that when on the upper note of hymns, the mixture is not it's like your transmission hunting, you know. It's just going back and forth. So that it stays constant all the way through that range.
Okay. All right, then go back over to the swell. We do have a couple of reeds.
Yep.
Tell me what we've got.
We've got an oboe
and
a trumpet. Those are both new.
Okay, so those were.
And they are playing on the old molar chest. Yep.
Were there old molar reeds before that didn't?
There was a molar trumpet.
Okay.
Yes, it was very small. It went into our stockpile and it hasn't found a happy home someplace.
Maybe something. So we have completely new.
So these are both new. Yeah.
Let's start with the oboe.
So the oboe 16 is a preparation. The bottom 12 pipes do not exist.
Right.
The console system is programming that 8-foot oboe to play as a 16. It does have a unit action. Shifts it down. So when you play the 16, of course, you run out of pipes. But at least you have that the 16-foot reed effect for the rest of it. So this is new. It's right behind the facade, the center facade. This one responds really well to the tremolo. Also, nice thing about an oboe or a clarinet or any solo reed is you can add things to it and it just becomes a different oboe. You add a 4-foot flute to it. Just want to fill it out just a little bit, add the viol to it. Or you can back that down and just add the Nizard to it. You even add the tierce if sometimes you can get away with it. So anything you do just makes a different oboe.
It affects that, so you got all these different colors.
All these different oboes that you can make,
Excellent.
Yep.
All right, and then there's a trumpet.
There's a trumpet, a new trumpet. This is kind of a fireball.
Okay. It's big, it's bright, it's not super loud though. It's a good volume.
It is right behind the right side facade.
Okay. So it's right there in front.
It's right there. It's first thing coming out of there.
And so I imagine that caps off the ensemble there.
It does. It does. You have a nice ensemble here.
Nice. It's a big full sound, and of course you can close all of that down.
Close all of that down.
And,
yep.
I imagine that's really effective to be able to do that.
One of my favorite sounds is having full swell, caged up, and couple that to great 8 and 4. And we have a borrowed 16 that we can use also. So. Yeah. Yep.
Very good. Well, tell me about the pedal division. What do we have?
Pedal division is there are 3 independent stops in the pedal. There's a sub bass. This is the old Moeller sub bass. There was not room in the new configuration for the biggest pipes. They are laying down on top of the case. Way back where if you go all the way, if you look inside the window in the far part of the building, you might be able to see them up there. So they're hidden up there. The cymbal stern is up there too. It was kind of a trick to keep the cymbal from rattling with those big pipes playing right next to them. But we dragged a bunch of felt up there and we got it all muffled down.
That's good to know.
Worked out. Yeah. So in the pedal you have the old molar sub bass. 16-foot. There's the bottom 12 of these are electronic. Again for space. And the 8-foot octave, part of that's in the Facade. The far right Facade.
Here it sounds like it's speaking right at us.
Yeah, it is. It's coming right at you. It's right there. Yep. And the trebles of that are behind the case on the right, on the left side, excuse me, and the choral bass is right there with it. That is an independent stop. That is from the molar.
Okay.
Yep. And we already saw the trumpet coming down from the grave. And then you have just a nice selection of duplex stops. The oboe plays there as a 4-foot cantus, as an 8-foot, as a light reed. It plays at 16 too. You kind of disappointed to pull that out because you don't have a bottom octave, but it's all ready to go. And,
okay.
And
just a matter of finding a donor.
Just enough room up there.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, maybe someone will see this and think they need to help complete this organ.
Sure. Well, the nice thing is we're right down the road, so there's a big discount.
And this is a brand new console.
Brand new console.
So the whole thing, it's a beautiful console. And it moves around. I know it's got enough cable to be in front and center of the church. We're over in the corner here.
When we did the voicing on the organ, it was out in the center of the church. There's enough cable to get out there.
Oh, that's handy to have.
It is.
And so, I'd like to introduce Ron Krebs. You're the vice president of the Reuter Organ Company here in Lawrence, correct?
Yeah.
And you were here when this instrument went in.
Yes.
You were telling me some things about the building and the organ. It's a very architecturally interesting space.
It certainly is a wonderful contemporary building, although it's been around for a while now.
But, yeah.
Certainly, the contour of the building outside is supposed to simulate somewhat the Bethlehem skyline.
Oh, okay.
And that's why it was very important to get a Zimbelstern in with a
Zimbelstern
star.
is very present in there. Yeah.
And you notice the woven tapestries up front, and just the unusual to have the cross right in the center of the room
instead of up front. So
all corner bricks, you notice they're rounded. All the corners around the outside and inside.
Yeah,
so
just outside, it's kind of a soft brick building is what it looks like.
Yeah.
So
it's just and very organic sort of colors. That's why we chose the flame copper facade. Seemed to
the location of the organ was, I mean, that's where the old organ was.
Yes,
too, so you
and that was that spacing and the choir is always sung from there, as far as I know.
The organ seems to speak out into the room really well. There's no obstructions. It's all just a clear.
Well, it's on the axis of the room.
Right. The axis is sideways from there. And lots of natural light, which I might actually kind of, if it's dark outside, then it can be dark in here, but it seems to work really well. Well, we've been given a great demonstration of the instrument, but I'd love to hear it played in its full glory.
Yeah, I'd love to play a tune or two for you.
Wonderful. We'd love to hear it.
So getting inside the organ requires going through small doors that are cut into the front panels of the organ. There's 2 on that side, and there's one underneath the swell. You can see a little square door, and that's the one we're going to be going in through today. That'll take us into the swell. It requires procuring a ladder, and actually this is Zach going in with the camera. And he comes in, and we're underneath one of the swell chests. You can see these are the refurbished molar chests. And to get in, you have to crawl underneath and make your way over to the end of the chest where you can go up and get up onto the walkboards. Now, there's 2 chests in this chamber. Here's one of them. And they're at an odd angle fitting into this strange little corner. So one to the left and one to the right. This is the chest that has the new trumpet on it. You can see where the toe board was different. There's our flute. And here's the new trumpet. It has copper resonators. Reuter likes to use a lot of copper for extra strength. You can also see some chimes along the back wall. We didn't talk about the fact it has chimes. There's the swell motor operator right there on the floor. You'll notice Reuter reeds don't have scrolls. They have tuning slides, just like flute pipes do, so I have mixed feelings about that. They don't break off over time like lead scrolls can, but they're also being held onto a tapered body, so sometimes they can come loose. Now we're on the opposite end of the chamber, looking back to where we were just standing. You see the pedal sub-bass along the back wall, the bottom of which is up on top of the chamber, as I mentioned. There just wasn't enough room for it in here. And then behind us is a door that takes us out to the great pipes. You see the 4-foot copper flute there, and that's all I can show you because for some reason footage from that area just didn't come back with us. Either camera wasn't running or if the files got lost, I'm not sure. So sorry about that, but let's listen to some more of Ron playing.
thank you, Ron and Bill, for showing us this wonderful 2012 Reuter organ here at First Presbyterian Church of Lawrence. While we're here in Lawrence, we're going to come see your shop. You're just down the road a bit, where you've been since 1919. They've been in Lawrence for 100 years and built over 2,000 organs. So we're going to come see where it was made. We're going to take you with us. We'll have cameras inside the shop, and hopefully we'll be able to give them a good tour and show how Reuter organs are made here. So, but thank you again for demonstrating this.
Glad to do that.
You'll be seeing these guys again. They're going to follow me around a little bit too while we're here in town. Remember, for streaming classical organ music 24 hours a day, you can visit our 3 stations, organlive.com, Positively Baroque, and The Organ Experience. And if you want to support us and help us make more videos, go to organ.media and click on support. We are a 501c3 nonprofit organization, and your contributions may be tax deductible. If you like this video, please subscribe and click the thumbs up button. Until next time, I'm Brent Johnson. I'll talk to you later.